What's going on, everybody? So, it's been a minute with the ROG Ally X, and I've tested more than 35 games on this handheld so far. Because, well, I can simply just take the SD card that I used with the original ROG Ally and transfer all my games with that same SD card, especially if I have them on Steam. So it's been a very simple process to compare the two handhelds. Now, in terms of performance, the ROG Ally X does in fact play games a lot better thanks to its RAM and upgraded SSD slot. And so far I have this 4TB 2280 SSD, which inevitably does play games a lot better than the small SD cards that I use for the original ROG Ally. But even using an SD card opposed to an SSD, I feel like the ROG Ally X does have a pretty good boost in performance with most titles, especially newer ones. It seems like the increased RAM speed is helping the ROG Ally X process games a lot easier and make it simpler to allocate virtual RAM. And I just absolutely love the fact that you can have 8 GB of allocated virtual RAM and still have a full 16 GB of actual RAM. And you have no idea, that helps out so much. I can't emphasize it enough, the fact that the increased RAM changes almost every situation with the ROG Ally X, and it's something that I wished that the Steam Deck would have, because the Steam Deck still uses a specific amount of allocated RAM, and you do have to switch it in order to play games like Red Dead Redemption 2 without any crashes. But with the ROG Ally X, I tried Red Dead Redemption 2, and it plays a lot better than it did on the ROG Ally. About, of course, 10 to 20% better. And I think that is the increase in RAM, if not there is more, because it not only increases the speed, but the amount of RAM, which is 24 GB. But yes, testing out the ROG Ally X has been a transformative experience in the way it made me think about the original ROG Ally. Now, does it play games better than the original Ally? Of course it does. Because of the RAM and the increased SSD size, it naturally, on paper, should play every single game perfectly. But it not only plays games a lot better, it's a lot quieter too. The new thermal system is smaller but more efficient, like other videos have said before. So the performance is also leveled up due to the thermal system inside of the ROG Ally X. Because it doesn't get as hot as the original, there are less stutters in game, which is such a relief, because the original ROG Ally had a bit of a problem with stuttering, and that was mainly due to its thermal system and just its overall temperatures. For the most part, the original Steam Deck had this issue as well, where there would be a lot of stuttering even though you have shader cache, mainly because of the thermals and the fact that the Steam Deck got extremely hot. Now the same goes for the original ROG Ally when it's in turbo mode. But with the ROG Ally X, while in turbo mode playing any game, I can't hear the fan once, and I couldn't really feel any heat coming from the system as much as the first one. Whenever I would touch the top of the system while trying to simply hold the original ROG Ally, I would kind of burn my finger because it's so hot. But with the ROG Ally X, whenever I carry it or try to dock it or something like that, I don't really notice any extensive amount of heat coming from the vents. And I think it's because of the angle of the vents. They have slightly changed internally. They still seem like they are pointing in the same exact direction, but the airflow inside of the ROG Ally X seems to be a lot better, to the point that it isn't backing up any kind of heat in the fans themselves, so they don't have to crank up as much. It just seems like the overall heat dissipation of the ROG Ally X is a lot better without poking 1,000 holes in it like with the MSI Claw. That thing was all vent, and it still got hot, or apparently it was reported that it still got hot. That handheld did not do very well, and it was mainly because it looked extremely ugly and very similar to the ROG Ally original, but except it was black. A lot of the times when I watch YouTube videos on the ROG Ally X, I think it's the MSI Claw, but it has a bit of more sheen to it with its black. It looks kind of silverish black. It's very fancy. It doesn't look just matte or basic like the MSI Claw. You can tell the material that they use with the ROG Ally X is very high grade. It's not cheap stuff, and it's definitely not cheap plastic. But yes, the ROG Ally X plays games a lot better, and it is because of all of those reasons. And Asus managed to do all of this without replacing the main CPU, but instead upgrading literally the rest of the ROG Ally X. So in a way, this handheld feels like the pro version of the original. And as you can see, it's playing RoboCop extremely well. This was one of the games that played very bad on the original ROG Ally, for me anyway. There was a ton of stuttering even just a couple days ago when I played RoboCop on the original ROG Ally. There was just too many stutters to the point that the game kind of froze when it started, but I never noticed that startup issue with the ROG Ally X. It seemed to just go into the game because of all of that extra RAM. It was able to handle loading up the game and all the shaders and everything even before I jumped into the game. But usually with the original ROG Ally, the stuttering would happen in the menu for RoboCop, and then it would happen while you're playing the game. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the ROG Ally X's performance in comparison to the original ROG Ally. Do you think it's better? Because I personally like it 10 to 20% more than the original ROG Ally. Now, of course, the original weighs a little less, and I think that's very important, especially if you want to play a system for a very long time. But ironically enough, what you also need is a better battery. If you don't have that, then you're going to be tethered to a power bank anyway. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a good one. Later.